Pessoal, estamos aqui em mais um Papo de Perfumaria. Muito feliz de receber o Hirac. E ele vai contar um pouco sobre a história fascinante dele, o trabalho que ele faz em relação ao olfato, as nossas emoções e memórias. E a Vanessa, naturóloga, especialista em neurociência do olfato, está aqui com a gente e vai conversar, vai fazer essa tradução para vocês entenderem um pouco o português, o inglês, e vamos aqui para as perguntas. Hirac, o que te fez a estudar sobre a neurociência do olfato? O que te levou a isso?
So, what bring you to study the sense of smell and the neuroscience?
So in the beginning of my career, I was working on a molecule that we call dopamine, which is linked to pleasure. And when I went to the United States to work in a new laboratory, I thought, okay, what is the sensory system which is linked the most strongly to pleasure and to dopamine? And the answer is smell. And this is where I began to study olfaction in many different areas.
E, Hirac, os cheiros têm esse poder da memória olfativa. Na sua experiência, por que as essências, têm esse poder incrível nas nossas emoções?
We know that the sense of smell has a strong connection with memories. How do you think that this could explain our feelings in this connection with how we feel when we smell something?
So smell is very much linked to emotions and memory. And this is true for all human beings on Earth. And this is also true from the baby to the elderly. During all our life, smell is linked to memory and emotions. If you make tests on smell with people maybe 90 years old, they would remember with smells their childhood. Childhood, that means 80 years before. So that means that olfaction and smell are the strongest memory in our brain. This is first for memory. Second is emotion. The language of smell, the way that we perceive things with smell, is always linked to emotions. When you have one smell that you like, you will smile. This is a very big emotion because you show it with your face. You really smile, and other people around you, they see that you smile. And that means that you really like this odor. It can be a perfume, it can be wine, it can be the wonderful dishes from Brazil. All these things will trigger these positive emotions. But it can be also negative emotions. It's like a balance between positive and negative. And negative could be that you are smelling something bad. Something bad can be maybe a spoiled food. A spoiled food would smell like a sulfur, like a rotten egg. And this is bad for us because we know that it's toxic. And so that means that the bad odors, they are not just bad, they are very useful for us for survival. And so we are all the time between this positive, I like this odor, and negative, I don't like this odor words. And this is very interesting because also in humans, we talk about our memories and our emotions. If we smell something that we really like, a new perfume, for example, we will ask our friends or family, do you like this perfume? This remembers my mother's perfume or my grandmother's perfume or the garden of my grandfather when he was gardening in his house. So it's when you enter olfaction, when you enter the smell, you will open multiple doors, and on these doors you will have memories, emotions, and they will be together because you don't have emotion and memory, you have emotion and memory together, which is very powerful for the brain.
This is what I teach my students all the time. And this is, I think, is the main subject of your book also. You wrote about this connection and you explain in all different stages of life.
Yes.
So this is, é sobre isso o livro dele também, né? Ele trouxe uma forma muito palatável para a gente entender essas conexões do olfato. Então, no livro dele, ele vai explicando a cada momento da vida, também diferentes situações, as faixas etárias, desde essas questões intrauterino até o nosso envelhecimento, e vai passando por todas as áreas.
It's so beautiful this. And this is the next, sobre a próxima pergunta era justamente sobre um pouco sobre isso, de qual que é a diferença dos cheiros que a gente sente durante o dia dos perfumes. Se tem, como que é essa diferença?
Is there a difference between the smell that are in our daily routine and the perfumes we choose? Is there any difference between smelling daily odors and the perfume?
There are
Can you
many
explain for
differences,
us?
yes. Because the smell that we smell every day, the different odorants, the molecules that we have, they are, I would say, simple. Like, if it's well cooked, it can be complex. But, you know, in the street, you smell the gas of the cars. This is very simple. There are few molecules and they are toxic and you don't like them. But the perfume is a creation, is an artistic creation. And for neuroscientists, an artist is a wonderful object to study because an artist has a brain that is different from a normal person that would not be interested by perfumes, for example. So this is why there were some studies on the brain of perfumers to understand.
Winemakers and then enologues. How do you say?
Onologues.
Enologues.
Yes, onologues, yes.
So winemakers,
Yes.
enologues.
All these people who are using their sense of smell every day, like very high sportive people that would train every day, well, they train every day also with odorants. And so their brain is different, and there are parts of the brain, mainly this frontal part, which is very important for artistic creation. And in these perfumers, we see that this part of the brain is very active and is very much activated by different kind of odorants. And so these people, they create an olfactory object, which is probably one of the most complex olfactory objects that you can imagine on Earth. Of course, trees and nature, this is very complex also, but this is natural. Yeah. Here we are talking about a human guided creation. Yeah. And so in that bottle, you would have synthetic molecules, you would have natural molecules, and you would have a mixture that will tell you a story and that will talk about your memories and your emotions. And this is the language of olfaction, you know. And also pleasure, because you will like this perfume. And some people really, they have their favorite perfume and they would never go somewhere without their favorite perfume.
It's like dress in a perfume.
Yes, exactly. And so this is why perfume is very unique actually in the human history. It has a very long story. It comes from the Egyptians, so very, very like thousands years, you know, before even Jesus
when
born.
we remember that we had a sense of smell.
Yes.
Now that you forgot about it.
And the very important thing also, why is it is so complex? Because even with these priests from the Egyptian Empire, they were using the perfumes not only to put on the body, but also to communicate with the spirits. So the spiritual part of the perfume was always important in human history. And it is still nowadays, because when people say, I like this perfume, there's something more than positive emotion. So there's something, you know, higher.
Yeah. We cannot explain why we like so much this or that perfume. Sometimes there are no words to explain. Is this
Yeah,
kind
words
of
are
connection?
difficult. Words are difficult when we are talking about olfaction.
Yeah.
But we want to talk about olfaction. We want to share.
Yeah.
And this is why I always say, and in the book I explain why it's a social sense.
Yeah.
Social because it's sharing.
Yeah.
Sharing in the family, sharing with the friends, sharing with anybody, even in the street. I mean, if you take a perfume, yes, you take a perfume, you go in the street and you tell anyone, you know, smell this, tell me what you think. He can tell you things during an hour. Yeah. Because, you know, he would say, I have this emotion, I have this memory, I have this pleasure, and this, and this, and this. And you talk. It's not very precise, of course. This guy is not a perfumer, but he wants to talk. He wants to communicate with you. And this is also it's not like only emotions and memory. It's also talking and communicating.
It's social also because it's a cultural heritage.
Yes.
So your Armenian family, me with my Brazilian family, Luca with his French family. So
Yes.
we learn this through our heritage.
Yes.
So it's cultural also.
Yes.
That's so important. But you were talking about this brief frontal cortex, and I remember the work you do with children. And I think this is so important to talk about the sense of smell because we can teach children to talk about and to put the sense of smell in their daily lives.
Yes.
So you have a work that you do with children.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about it for us?
You can do many amazing things with children. They are very curious about smell, olfaction, perfumes,
Yep.
essential oils. They love
Food.
essential oils. Food, of course,
Yeah.
food with the smell of food.
Mom and dad say no, smell this, no.
You cannot smell what you're going to
Yeah.
eat. You cannot put your hands, but this is how they are learning.
Yes, so they learn by all their senses, and they learn a lot with their smell. And when a baby is born, he learns almost anything with smell, because in the first months, he doesn't see anything, he doesn't hear very well, but he smells everything. So he knows the olfactory signature of his mother, of his father, if there are some sister and brother, and people around in the family, he knows everything by smell. And then the kids, 2 years, 3 years old, 4 years old, they are very much into the curiosity of smell. And this is something that you can do with kids that adults, they don't do. For example, when I work with kids, I give them an odorant they don't know. And I tell them, can you draw this odorant?
This is amazing. Yeah.
And then they say, yes, give me
Yes,
some
of
pens.
course.
And they draw and they make, these beautiful things and colors.
And they choose the colors.
Yes,
for
yes, in
that
accordance
smell.
to what they smell. But they don't know what's the smell. And it doesn't matter because they like it.
They are
And-
not like us that the first question, what is
it?
that?
Yes, what is it?
What is this?
Yeah, and they are not inhibited. They really want to explore. They really, and then they ask you, so, okay, I made this drawing, but then, can you give me another one, another smell, and I can make another drawing, and then we compare. And this is very good because it's to compare different odorants or different perfumes, and they love to do that. And unfortunately, as you said, when they grow up, the parents, the society, we tell them to stop it, just stop your senses and think, which is stupid because your senses, the perception that you have of anything around you, it will activate your intelligence. Yes.
How you think.
And so you need this entry. If you cut the entry, you are going to be less smart, I can tell you. So
Yeah. And this is what we see also in someone that loses the sense of smell, the cognitive issues also.
Yes.
This is very important
Yes.
because we always think that feeling is something and thinking is another one.
Yes.
But when we lose our sense of smell, we have many issues with the cognitive part of our life. So
Yes.
this is very important
Yes.
to at least try to feel something.
Interrompemos o nosso Papo de Perfumaria para trazer os nossos patrocinadores, agradecer a Perfumares, que é uma escola de perfumaria. Segue, visite o site para conhecer um pouco mais. E a Pélica Energy, que vai além de uma marca de camiseta de perfume, mas traz também 7 práticas para você viver melhor. Acesse o QR Code para saber um pouco mais sobre esse propósito da marca Pélica Energy. E a gente tem escutado muito sobre que os perfumes, eles ajudam a gente a ter mais foco, ajudar mais a dormir, ou ter mais energia. Como que a ciência enxerga isso? Como que é para a ciência?
A lot about the functional perfumery. So this perfume can help you to sleep, to be more focused. How science see that?
Yeah. So before perfume, you see these effects with essential oils. You don't need to have the perfume. You can see these effects in the elements that will be part of the perfume.
The chemistry of
The perfume. When you will put all together, it will be the perfume, but even one piece of this perfume can make this effect. How? So when you look at the brain with some imaging techniques, you see that you go from the nose to your brain. And in the brain, you can follow the cables between neurons, and these cables, they go to emotional areas, they go to memory regions, they go to pleasure regions, and they go to some fibers that will go in your body. And notably, they would go in your heart, in the entire digestive system, etc. And so that means that when you smell something that you like, your heart will be, the pace will be diminished. And the pressure, the blood pressure also will diminish, because this is a positive odor for you. And the only sensory system that does that, that really, relaxes you, it's the olfactory system. It's the most powerful to do that. And you can really follow these pathways, you can really trace them in complex imaging systems in clinics.
You see, we did an experiment in our classes, and that's why Emiliano was smiling, because I took 2 molecules of that would mimetic the essential oil, the lavender essential oil. And then we took some, how do we say, aparelho de aferição. So it's going to see the blood pressure and the beating.
Yes.
I forgot the name.
Oximeter, we call that.
So, and we had some students with that, and we talk about just smell a little, we said, just smell a little bit, and we see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
People that liked the lavender, they just relaxed.
Yes.
People that didn't like it, the lavender, just went up.
Yes.
And the ones that didn't know anything about it, but we had the same results.
Yes.
So the ones that liked it but didn't know it was something that looked like lavender, they also got more relaxed, and the others got a little bit stressed. So this is very easy to do, and we can experience in real time this pathway, this complex pathway.
Yes.
E quais são as pesquisas mais recentes que estão sendo feitas nessa parte do olfato?
So can you tell us about the research that is being made about the sense of smell, things that you think is just lighting up nowadays?
Yes. So actually there is a very important research that is done here in São Paulo, in USP, by Professor Bettina Malnik, who is my collaborator and also a collaborator of Vanessa. And she's working on how the olfactory detectors, the receptors that we have in the back of our nose, are working. And especially how these receptors are changing from population to population. And we know that in Brazil, there are very different populations, and she is following this different expression of these detectors. And this is very important, because if you want to perceive the world by your sense of smell, it starts here. So you have to understand what's going on here. And she is doing that very well. On our side in France, in my lab, we work a lot about how olfaction is linked to food intake, to the pleasure of how you eat. Because when you eat something, the first thing that you do is you smell the food before putting it in your mouth. And this smell of the food will activate many regions, memory, emotions, your body, your digestive system. And we are working on that, because it was shown that in, for example, obese or diabetic people, they have olfactory problem. Like Alzheimer people also, they have olfactory problem. And so we are trying to find, new pathways, new networks in the brain that could regulate our metabolism, starting by the olfactory system.
Então, os cheiros, eles não são universais, são assim, tem muito a ver com a cultura também de cada país, de cada lugar. Assim, não é... Como que é?
I think I understand.
I cannot say that smell is something that is universal. Everyone's going to feel it the same way. It depends on many factors.
Yes.
Can you tell about
Yes, there are many factors. So the first factor is the genetic factor that Bettina Malnik studies, the Professor Bettina Malnik studies in USP. So it's here already. You can have, so we have, let's say, 400 different olfactory receptor families, but it's not 400, that number. It can be 350, it can be 370. And so our perception is a bit different from individual to individual. So this is the genetic part. We are born with these genes. We cannot do anything about it. It's like that. And then on this basis, you are going to add the cultural aspect, the social aspect. And the first social aspect is your family. And the first thing in the family is food, before perfume. And yes, it starts, yes, so it starts with the mother and the fetus. And at the third trimester of pregnancy, the fetus can smell the molecules in the amniotic liquid that come from the nutrition, the alimentation, the food intake of the mother. So that means that this baby, when he's going to be born, he will already know what the mother is eating. And this is very important because he knows that it's safe. And so it already starts there. So it's very, very important for this baby. And then every day, then he will grow up, he will learn to eat. And every day, 3 times a day, during all its life, these kids who will be a teenager, an adult, and an elderly, 3 times a day, he would have stimulation of his olfactory system linked to food. So this is why it's so important food is so important in culture issues. Every country has this really like a very strong feeling about its food, its specialty. I mean, I'm coming from France and you're from Brazil. So we are very, very strong food preferences, and also the quality of food is a bit different because, you know, you don't cook with the same nutritional things. So the spices are different, the plants are different, but they smell. And they smell differently in South America than in Europe. So this makes, and I am only talking about the food. So there are so many other things about smell, but if you just consider the food, you understand that it's so cultural. But the good thing is that, again, as olfaction is a social system, for example, when I come here and I have food with Vanessa, we discuss about the smell of food, about the Brazilian food that I don't know. I don't know this food. So Vanessa,
and you tried many fruits.
Yes, I try many fruits. I try everything that I can.
Brigadeiro, beijinho, açaí.
And then we talk, and I tell her, you know, this reminds me like this food from Paris, but also it can remind me this food from Istanbul because I was born in Istanbul in an Armenian family. And so again, social, you know, interaction, and we talk and we say, this smells like this and that. And so it's cultural, but not cultural isolated. It's cultural in exchange.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. Which Brazilian fruits smell better for you? The ones
Which
you taste?
Brazilian? So I don't remember the name. You know, the one that we bought in the Lapa market? The big one.
We had atemoia, green outside and white inside.
Yes, this one.
Very, very sucré.
Yes, I really like this one. This one, yes.
But it's one of my favorites, and my dog also loves it.
Your dog loves it?
Because it's pure sugar.
But it smells very good also.
Yeah.
It smells very, yes.
Carambola.
Mm-hmm. And the carambola I knew, yes.
The açaí juice. Which other fruits have you tried?
So I tried the cashew juice that we don't have at all in Europe.
And
no.
Yeah. And it smells good.
It smells very good,
yes.
The cashew juice. Yes, yes.
There's something that is very fun. I love the smell of cashew, but I don't like the taste.
Of cashew? Really?
Yeah. I love
Caipirinha? Oh, really?
We need an hour of explanation,
yes.
but also because smell is very important for taste, because it's connected between, you know, because when you chew some food in your mouth, you have some molecules that will go from the back of your mouth to your nose. So that means that your nose knows what's inside your mouth. And the taste that you can have, the sweet, the salty, etc., it's always connected with the olfactory map. So this is why it's, for the brain, it's very important to have both. And when people lose the sense of smell, they have problems with the quality. They say, this is not very good. I don't recognize this, my coffee, for example. But they can still tell you that there's sugar in the coffee, but they cannot tell you that it's a good coffee.
It's the first complaint.
Yes, the first complaint
is about taste and not actually about the sense of smell.
So it's, for the brain, it's really, really, really both together, taste and olfaction.
It's perfect. Gente, hoje em dia a gente pergunta sempre sobre inteligência artificial. Como que é para vocês, na sua opinião, como que a inteligência artificial está atuando nessa forma de criação de perfumes e nas descobertas sobre a importância do olfato.
So how do you think about the AI working in the perfumery field?
Yeah. Actually, I don't know very much if they are using it right now. Probably yes. We are using it in the lab to analyze the different activities in the brain, because we have many neurons which are activated, and to have the global picture, it's important to use AI because it's very fast and it's very efficient. Some people, they also use AI to analyze the receptors that we have talked about, but I don't know if in Paris I didn't see that people are using AI to create, for example, perfumes. Not yet, but it might come. But to my point of view, it would be poor to create a perfume with an AI because it doesn't have emotions, for example. So an emotion for an AI, it's just a word, and it can be the same word than trash. Trash and emotion, they are two words. So it would put something to say, oh, emotion for a human being is positive, but it's only words. It doesn't feel the emotion. And of course, the perfumer, the creator, the artist, he feels the emotion, the same emotion that other people. So he understands the emotion of other people. So I think if you go AI, I would believe that the perfume would be maybe poor in the emotional field.
Where is the artist? Yeah.
Yeah, where's the artist in the AI? I don't think right now, maybe in 10 years, but right now, I don't see the artist in the AI.
It's the feeling. It's going to lose the feeling.
Yeah.
Like one of our friends, Gabriel, told he was analyzing many different essential oils for citrus. And he said they have 90% of the same elements.
Yes.
It's just the 10% that makes it so unique. It's the same thing with
Yes.
perfume and the AI.
Yes.
E conta pra gente, então, um cheiro especial para você, que te remeta a uma memória muito afetiva.
Do you have a special smell that brings you back to a memory or something?
Yeah, so I have some memories from my childhood, and in my family, in the desserts, they use and in Armenian people, but I think almost everywhere they use cinnamon. And cinnamon for me, it's really a nice odor, and I love to actually smell cinnamon in the food, but also in the perfumes. When there's this spicy effect, but not too much, there's just a little. And so this would be my favorite smell.
And the arroz doce. Do you know arroz doce?
Yes, and when you put the, I don't know if in Brazil you do that.
We have the arroz doce as a dessert here.
Yes,
So we
but do you put the cinnamon on top?
Yeah.
Yes. So
The best part is the cinnamon.
So that is really my childhood. So I really remember, I see my father putting the small amount of cinnamon on the rice and the milk. And this is really clear image. And I was like maybe 5 years old, and now I am 55. It's I am traveling in time with the cinnamon.
And
So,
this is why sense of smell is so special, because we have a time machine in our nose.
Yes.
We can go back
Yes,
in
yes.
so many important
Yes.
situations in our life.
Yes, but Hirac, it has been such an inspiring conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your passion, and your personal insight with us. We loved having you here on Papo de Perfumaria, and we hope to continue exploring this beautiful bridge between science and the art of the scent together in the future. Thank you again, and we wish you all the best in your research.
thank you very much.
Obrigada, Vanessa, por participar desse Papo de Perfumaria, que vai continuar muito depois com você também para trazer todo esse conhecimento. Pessoal, eu quero pedir para vocês seguirem aqui o Papo de Perfumaria. Se tiverem mais perguntas para fazer, alguma sugestão, escrevam para a gente, comentem aqui para a gente vai atrás dessas respostas com o Hirac. Aproveitando, tem um livro dele que é uma preciosidade, que chama Sentir. E quem quiser também seguir a Vanessa no Instagram, que é Casa Jasmina.
Jasmina. E logo, logo a gente vai ter mais do Hirac.
Não sabia se já podíamos.
Que ele, a professora Bettina e uma série de outros cientistas do olfato, mas também terapeutas do olfato, perfumistas, artistas, fazem parte.
Gente, tem uma novidade realmente chegando aí, que é o livro do olfato, que olha, eu tô super ansiosa para ver esse livro.
O título do Hirac é exatamente sobre emoções e olfato. Então, tudo que ele contou aqui, ele vai aprofundar no livro.
Que delícia. Obrigada mais uma vez.